How you doing, everyone? Welcome to the first episode of Just Me. So what's the aim of this? The aim of this is to just give you a little bit of insight into a little bit of insight about me. You know, because obviously you know me from the pic. If you've seen some previous episodes, some of you may even know me from when I was using. Some of you may even know me from my early recovery. You know, I know I've got a lot of people that I know that follow the podcast. So I wanted to talk about a little bit about me, my recovery, maybe a little bit of my week in there, and what's coming up on the PIC podcast, man. And you know what? I've sat here for the last hour and just not wanted to do this. But I said I would deliver a show on tomorrow at 6 p.m. So these are pre-recorded. But there's no editing involved. I don't edit these at all. I just sit in front of the camera, talk honestly, talk openly, or as honest as I can be. Talk openly, and then I just post it. So I can't really talk about me without my recovery, and right now, I don't feel like I have much recovery, which is really fucking hard for me to say. I definitely have recovery from drug dependency and substance misuse. I have that today. But I didn't just come here to get off drugs. I didn't drag my ass out of a ditch, and go to a meeting and go to treatment and fall and get back up, and bang my head many times, and lose stuff and get it back and lose stuff, just to give up drugs. I wanted more than that, and so what am I talking about? I'm talking about behaviours. I'm talking about being a better person, and in the rooms we would call it living by spiritual principles, and I've definitely not been doing that. In some areas of my life, yes, I feel like I've been doing that. In one area, one or two areas, maybe more, who knows? I'm normally the last to fucking know. I haven't been doing that, and what do I mean when I say that? I'm talking about dishonesty. Dishonesty with other people, dishonesty with people I care about, and dishonesty with myself. I don't feel like I'm on my best game at the minute. But recovery doesn't being in recovery means that we just get up and we keep going and we keep trying, and being me means that I just get up and I keep trying and I have another go, and I either I can stay in those same behaviours and remain that same person, or I can take the advice I'm given, listen to people closest to me that I invite into my life, and ask their opinion, and ask what they believe the solution is, and then I can go and apply that solution, or I can fucking stay the same. I don't have to be in the solution. I have the choice. I have the choice these days. I can live in pain, and the fucking pain is painful. It's as painful as using, if not more painful, because I don't have a substance to numb that. I have to. I'm confronted with me, and that can be fucking so hard, to be confronted with myself every day, and have like the knowledge that I know better, but, you know, just when it comes to it, just not put the action in, you know. And it's not to say that I don't do that, or I haven't done that, or I can't do that, you know. That's absolutely not what I'm saying. It's to say that sometimes, you know what, I just fucking don't do it. And some of that stuff comes from a lack of application. You know, because when I apply myself, you know, when I want to apply myself, if I want something bad enough, then I can go and do it. You know, so and then I can go from, you know, I can go from like literally last week. You know, if some of you follow me on Facebook, you'll see that I was, you know, flying to a different country, you know, kind of being of service, as we would say, and you know, doing a good thing. And then kind of this week, man, I feel like a villain. Do you know what I mean? And I'm, you know, hurting people close to me, and hurting people that are not close to me. You know, just fucking can hurt people. And not in a physical way, but you know, I can just hurt people, man. It's fucking really hard to talk to yourself on a camera. In my head, there's about fucking 6 conversations. But put me in front of a camera and say, okay, talk about yourself and be honest. And it's like, fuck. I think it's important to share it. I think it's important to say, okay, yeah, do you know what? In aspects of my life, I'm doing well. And in other aspects of my life, I'm not doing so well. You know, if I was recovered, and you know, you know, I'd be done, wouldn't I? But yeah, that's not the case. You know, I'm definitely not recovered. I've still got lots more to learn, and fucking some days, man, I just don't like that. Some days, you know, I really don't fucking like seeing myself. You wouldn't think it, you know. You wouldn't think it. If you were to walk past me in the street, I would smile and say, "How you doing?" I want to ask you about your day, and I would be interested. And this is the thing, isn't it? You know, do we really know? Do we really know how we feel? I'm probably going on to like men's mental health there. You know, men not talking enough about how they feel. That's a different show. So yeah, that's kind of my last week, maybe 2 weeks, and a little bit more insight about me, you know. And I suppose, you know, I just want to finish that kind of part of the show and say, actually, do you know what? You know, I'm not fucking burgling people's houses. I'm not selling drugs. You know, I'm not keeping my loved ones up at night. You know, I'm a long way away from that. You know, my mum is not worrying whether she's going to get a phone call to say they found a body. You know, or my children are taken care of. You know, whereas suppose before they weren't taken care of. You know, I'm not doing any of that. You know, but yet, you know, there's still lots of room to grow. And yeah, I can get a bit complacent and think, oh, I've kind of got this, and have a little bit of a spring in my step, you know, and I definitely haven't got it, man. I definitely haven't got it. So, but I'll update you next week. You know, I've put some solutions in, and I'll update that. I said I would do this every Friday. It's the fucking first one, and I don't want to do it already. I said I would keep them short, and we're at like 10 minutes already, and you know, we're just not going to get. It's not going to be that short, so probably we're going to go a little bit over time. What else did I say I would talk about? I wanted to talk about what's coming up on the Pig Pick podcast. So yeah, we've got some good shows coming up. Actually, we've got Rich Pike. So who is Rich Pike? Rich Pike is he's a bit of an enigma. He's a great human being. You know, just can pull stuff apart. You know, he was telling me a story today, actually. You know, he was doing a recovery talk. with 3 people. He was invited to do a live TikTok show with 3 people that he didn't know, you know, there was 2 people on the show there, you know, and they were saying they haven't cried for years, you know, and he got into some stuff with them, you know, and within a couple of minutes, these 2 people were, you know, in floods of tears, because he just has a way of just kind of getting in you and just reflecting stuff in a way that maybe we've never seen it before. His show's coming up, really good. We've got Ian Young. Ian Young is the director of Helena Rehabs and 12-step retreatment centres. So they offer addiction and trauma packages. You know, I work there, and you know, I'm on the management team there, and yeah, Ian's great, man. Like, you never really know how to take him, but he's a special guy. Yeah, you know, and he's got the biggest heart, you know, and at the same time, man, he'll just tell you how it is. So yeah, I enjoyed that podcast. It's not one of our usual ones, you know. We ended up talking about Russian soldiers. I don't know how we got there, but we got there, and then a little bit we spoke about Russell Brand at the end of it. So that's, you know, there's a nice little bit of information in there about that, you know, and nothing that's new. So don't get excited. But just that, you know, he was on the same scene as him at some point in his using and maybe in recovery, I'm not sure, I don't quite remember. But we talked a little bit about that. And then we talked a little bit about his journey, because he wasn't like some addicts, you know, there was no prison and no, you know, none of the mad stuff that some of us have done, but yet some mad stuff that some other people have done, you know, so it doesn't, you know, what I'm trying to say is it transcends people's lives no matter where you're from. So that's a good watch. And then we've got, of course, Jay Stock. So I'm looking at my notes because I wrote some notes. We've got Jay Stock. Jay, man, I love Jay. Jay's like a born entertainer. He fucking cheers me up. He tells me how it is. He goes through the same shit as me. We all go through the same shit. But, you know, Jay is like, on his heart, on his sleeve, man. He tells it out. You know, he says, "This is how I'm feeling, and this is, you know, this is what I'm going to do." And then, you know, he just goes ahead and does it. You know, Jay's cool, man. Jay done a good podcast. I don't want to say too much because he's my boy. Jay done 2 podcasts, which actually he done Recovery Talks, Am I an Addict, where we got a little bit of insight into his using and addiction, and then we got some good feedback from that because we live streamed that on TikTok as well. And I wanted him to come back on and do the full hour. And then at some point, me and him were chatting today, and someone, you know, I've been getting a couple of comments or a couple of messages from people saying, "Why don't you do a podcast, Dan?" So I said to Jay, you know, why don't we do another podcast, and you podcast me? He was like, "Yeah, cool." So yeah, and you know, it sounds like a great idea, and I have these ideas in the moment, and then come actually do it. You know, I'm always fearful that I'm going to say too much or reveal too much of myself. But you know, I want to keep it real. This is the point of the podcast. We keep it real. Behind every addict, there's a story. You know, and I want to bring that to people and say, actually, you know, we're not just fucking junkies. You know, that there's a reason we've done the things that we've done, and there's a reason why we no longer do them. So yeah, that's coming on. I'm back in the UK in September, hopefully going to be filming some stuff there. I've got an exciting one in September. I don't want to say too much because it's not all confirmed, but I've got a fairly well-established person, household name, maybe, in recovery, yes, going to come on and do a podcast for us. So I'm looking forward to that. I'll give you a little clue. What I will say is not his last podcast. He's got his own podcast show, but one of his podcasts, this is not going to give it away at all, one of his podcasts got 2.4 million views. And he's agreed to come on and do some filming for us. So I'm looking forward to that. What else have I written down? Recovery Talks. So we're doing as well as the main PIC podcast we do Recovery Talks. So Recovery Talks is, if you've read the descriptions in the descriptions box, you'll see what they are. They are like bite-sized topical subjects based around recovery, where we had Tanya Van Leeuwen. She did recovery for women. I've got another guy coming on. He's going to do trauma and addiction, and we're going to look at the whole relationship between trauma and addiction and how they play into each other. Definitely a relationship there. Of course there is. You know, it's like chicken and the egg. What comes first? So we're going to be looking at that, and then I think I might get Ian. Ian does a great share of the 12 steps. If I can get Ian to do a 12-step recovery talks in 20 minutes, then I'll get him to do that, because his concept of a higher power is like nothing I've heard. But yeah, thank you for watching. Sorry if I put you off a little bit at the beginning there. You know, listen, if you're fucked up on drugs, then get fucking clean, you know, and trust me, everything I'm going through and everything that I've been through, you know, in terms of my recovery has definitely been worth to get me to this point. So yeah, if you want to leave any comments in the box below, don't forget to subscribe and like. If you haven't already subscribed, and you know, just tell people about us. Let's get some traction, and let's get the channel going. We're doing really well at the minute. The subscribers are jumping up. The views are jumping up. We've had 10,000 views in this last month alone. And I'm like one guy, you know, one guy with a camera, not even a very good camera at that. And I just had an idea, you know, and I ran with it. You know, I had to put my team around me for what I needed to be done. And you know, it's taking off, and we're getting some views. So yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next Friday.